I'm like, why are you here? Go home. I guess God orchestrates everything because he was going to be my husband.
The God that we love, the God that we serve, when he wants something to be done, he will take you apart and he will make sure that you will be ready for the mission that he will give you,
Can I say this?
Please go ahead.
He ate raw chicken. I guess he didn't even know that it was raw chicken. Just seasoned the chicken and put it in the fridge. And he ate it. I always had a list, that I prayed for. I was very specific and intentional in that list. And Hugo checked the boxes.
Basically, the first time when I met Essy, I had this intuition that she was my wife for real. That was in my guts, I had the feeling. It was so obvious, And then we went to church. Essy started to sing and to praise God in the way that I've never seen anyone doing that, completely fall in love with her. For see the videos, guys, they were like holding the stuff like this, the gift, bringing the bride and the family.
Already, I want to get married on the water. I was looking for like a lake to, build a platform on, but everyone was like, we're African. We're African.
Hello everyone, welcome to Love Without Borders, and my name is Angela, your host, and we'll be embarking on a wonderful journey with our couple, Mr. and Mrs. Sciacalugas. Class in session. We are that international generation where no matter your nationality, you love who your heart chooses. We'll be celebrating, educating on how international marriages tie the knot. We are showing how faith, love, and traditions unite hearts across the cultures. So bring your tissues for the and a mop for the tea that is about to be spilled.
And here we have our lovely couple. I'd love them to introduce themselves and tell me just a little bit about yourselves.
Hi everyone.
Hello guys.
Hi guys. So this is Mr. and Mrs. Sciacalugas. I'll let my husband do the introduction.
Well, my name is Hugo. I'm very happy and glad to be here with you guys. I'm so happy as well that you're following us on the social networks. Is it?
Social media.
Social media, sorry. Sorry, I'm French, so excuse my English. And yeah, we're so happy, guys, and it's a lovely moment with Angela. Thank you, Angela, for this opportunity. And and we have been married in August. It's like a few months ago. It has been, I think, one of our best days in our life. Maybe the best one. I don't know. I think for me it's the best one. And we're so blessed and so happy to be here. And what else can I say, babe? I guess we'll have a wonderful time. Oh, by the way, I'm working in hospitality. Essy, she's working in a cybersecurity company, but she will tell you more about her later on. And I'm actually right now doing a beautiful job, which is to assist the hotel manager. And yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah. So can you please tell me what countries are you from? For those that don't know you.
Okay, so I'm from Ghana in Africa, in the western part of Africa. And Hugo, he's French, but he has Italian ancestry, and that explains his last name. So his last name is Sciacalugas, and it's Italian, but he's really French. Huh? He doesn't speak a word of Italian.
I do speak Spanish.
I mean, well, that's wonderful. Thank you for introducing yourselves. Let's get into it. So this is a very typical question, but how did you guys meet?
So I guess I'm gonna go first because I think we both have different versions of the story, but we met. I think the common thing is that we met at work. So I used to work when I was a student, maybe 3 years ago. I used to work 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Wow.
Because we're in a new year. So happy new year, guys.
Right, huh? Oh yeah, our best wishes.
But so 3 years ago, at the latter end of 2023, I was working in a hotel called Oceania, and I was working as a night auditor in the hotel. So he was doing his apprenticeship there, and I remember he was supposed to. I'll work from maybe 9 p.m. till 7 a.m. in the morning, and then there's someone that will relieve you off of your shift, and so on and so forth. So at the end of my shift, I was really exhausted, and I just wanted to go home. And around 6:50, this tall, lanky white dude walks in. And I'm just like, who is this one? Because I didn't know him. I didn't know him.
Wow.
I'm like, who is this one coming? And he was sniffling. He was just like, every little 2 seconds, he's like, I'm like, dude, like, and he comes in and, he stretches out his hand because Hugo's like that, he'll come and he wants to look you in the eyes and, feel. And I'm just like, get away from me with your germs. Like, so then I'm like, why are you here? I'm like, why are you here? Go home. Bear in mind, I'm really exhausted. So I really want to go home to sleep. But then I'm just like, no, you're going to do yourself and us more harm than good. Because, it was around the time where we have COVID and stuff like that. I don't know what is wrong with this lanky dude. So, and plus, I don't know you. So get away from me. Fast forward, I added him on because I told him to get an appointment at the doctor because he was really scared that it was going to affect his apprenticeship, if he just walked away. Yeah. And I told him to get an appointment at the doctor on the app. He didn't even have the app. He didn't even know about the app. So I added him onto my medical app. Crazy, because why would you do that? Not knowing that I guess God orchestrates everything because he was going to be my husband and he will need to be on my medical app anyway. So I add him onto my medical app. I take up all his information, his social security number, and he ridiculously gives everything to me. Because why would you do that? I'm a stranger. Why would you give me all your vital information? I could be stealing your identity. But then again, he trusted me. I got him an appointment at the doctor. And then I'm going to continue the story because he really doesn't even know it still. He vanishes. So I don't see him for like 4 or 5 months. And during that time, later on, he tells me that it was because he saw me and he knew I was going to be his wife. So he was praying about me.
Oh, wow.
And he was also ashamed that the first time I'm meeting him, he's in his best shape. So I'm going to let him take over the story from there.
Yes, Hugo, tell us, where were you in those 5 months? Start from the beginning, yeah.
Guys, let me tell you something. Moses, before to, save his people from the Egyptians, and crossing the Red Sea, thanks to this miraculous, thing that God, orchestrates. He actually took Moses and put him in the desert for I guess it was 40 years, right? Or maybe 40, few decades, in the desert, So to let him, really,
correct,
age and get ready for his people, get ready for his mission, So I think, the God that we love, the God that we serve, is a God that, when he wants to, when he wants something to be done, he will take you apart and he will make sure that you will be ready for the mission that he will give you, So I think so I think that during these 5 months I was actually getting trained and ready for Essy, and lucky I was, I met her after this 5 months. And I remember we had this how do you call it, baby? This workshop.
Team building.
Team building, right? So basically, in French company, I don't know abroad how it is. I guess that's pretty much the same. But every year, we the teams are joining and doing a small workshop or leisure activity, outside of work to let's say strengthen the bonds between the team, right? And my team and I were getting ready, to go to this event, and we were all, about to meet each other, in a place. I guess it was in the 17th district. It's in Paris. Never mind. And we had this. We were supposed to do an escape game, but it was a surprise for us. No one was knowing what we'll do. And when I arrived to this place, I was a bit confused and happy at the same time. I don't know. I was like, wow. I was feeling it's gonna be a good day, And then suddenly I saw Essy, coming like, with a beautiful dress that was a white t-shirt, nice hair like this ones,
Oh yeah,
and I guess they were pink, so yeah, they were pink, right? You had your nails done, everything. You were looking absolutely beautiful and bright. And I saw my colleague just, come from nowhere and hugging you like you were like best friends for a while. And I was so jealous. I was like, oh my God. I mean, I had pain in my heart, and I mean, once again, I'm really thankful to God. We actually end up, being together in this activity. Unfortunately, we lost this day, but I won my wife this day as well. So
Absolutely, yeah.
and then we went to the restaurant, and I don't know, I felt like, I felt it, Essy was like my wife. It was like suddenly it was obvious,
And he told me I love you on that day.
On the first day.
Crazy human being.
I don't know. For me, it was obvious. And so, yeah.
Living proof that when a man knows his wife, they know. And that's beautiful. So next came after the meeting, of course, you had to go through dating or courtship or dating. And what are some things that, some cultural clashes that you had while dating that you're like, because obviously maybe it's the first time you were meeting a lady from Ghana, the otherwise too. So what was surprising to you that this is different for me?
I guess for me, it will be that, you know how a lot of the time we hear these cliches about white people, and we hear that maybe, I don't know, they wear shoes in the house, they do these kind of things. I never used to believe it, right? Because I used to think that it was exaggerated. But one of the things that really knocked me was that, oh my gosh, like these cliches are actually true, Because I remember so you know how usually in the usual relationship, it's kind of like the man that is, very, masculine, and he'll come and he'll open the door for you, he'll come and pick you up and stuff like that. When I met my husband, he wasn't driving. I was the only one driving. And it's just because he's a city boy, and most Parisians are like this. So I lived in the outskirts, so I needed a car because I needed to come into Paris to work. But he didn't, because he used to live 5 minutes walk from his workplace, 10 minutes walk from his school, that kind of thing. And in Paris, you don't actually need a car like that because you have the metro and stuff like that. So sometimes if I wanted us to go to like a fancy restaurant in the outskirts, I'll come and pick him up. And I know that it's not a conventional thing, because a lot of girls would be like, yeah, I'm supposed to be picked up. I'm supposed to be this. But it didn't bother me, right? But then I think that I realized that, this is actually not the norm. When I would listen to like my girlfriends be like, yeah, and he came to pick me up, and he came to, I'm like, yeah, I went to pick him up. Like, is it a big deal? So I guess for me, it wasn't a big deal like that. But for other people who were close to us, they'll always be like, yeah, Hugo, you need to get a car. You need to do this. For us in the relationship, I think it was fine. I was ready to accept him as he was. But then everyone else surrounding us, including like his family, will tell us that, you can't be dating this girl if you know this, that, and the third. And I think external pressure, exactly. I'll leave him to talk about his cultural shocks that he had with us.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think I didn't have many cultural shocks. I mean, as far as I remember, because look, me, I'm quite a curious person, and I did travel abroad when I was quite young. So I think I was more, I had this sensitivity, for cultural, differences. I quite liked it, and Essy was very unique. And I, to be honest with you, the Ghanaian community, and well, actually the African community did really welcome me very well. They were particularly benevolent, nice, understanding, when even I think I did many times I've been very clumsy, I know it, but they will never tell you, in front of you, they will never try to offend you, So I think from my side, I've been once again very blessed. Everything went really smoothly, like very smoothly, and I love the Ghanaian culture. I love the food, the cuisine, the people.
Yeah.
It's right now I feel more. I mean, my heart feel more Ghanaian than French, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
I'm very happy. You know, I'm very happy to be married to.
Oh, I have
Yeah.
one. Oh my gosh, this one shocked me. So I'm not even going to like, you know, I don't know how it is growing up where you grew up, but in Ghana, we grew up watching a lot of like adverts on TV, like that, talking about oral hygiene, talking about brush your teeth up and down, round and round, and then brush your tongue. You know.
Yeah.
I know, Hugo. Can I say this?
Please go ahead. That's
And I
dark part
found
of my life, guys.
that he didn't know, like he wasn't taught to brush his tongue.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And me, I was like, well, I thought this was general knowledge.
Common knowledge, yeah.
He was like, no, we never brush our tongue. You can ask anyone in my, like, around me. We never brush our tongue. And I was like, you don't brush your tongue. Like, it was so shocking to me.
Yeah.
And like a whole of little things. Like, I know I didn't think they didn't use washcloths, but they don't use washcloths. They don't use like a sponge, you know?
Yeah.
I knew they won't use a sponge, but I didn't think that they didn't use washcloths.
Yeah.
They use washcloths.
I mean, it's one of those like cultural things that you think because you were raised up with them, you think like, oh, everybody should know. But it's when you go to different cultures, they're like, we don't need it or we don't see the importance of it. So why should we use it? Wow.
So many things, I guess, like, for example, like there was a time when we were married at this point, actually, we weren't dating anymore. And Hugo, like, I knew he always eat cold food. Like, for example, where we come from, we don't eat cold food because we have like, cholera, you know? I guess they don't. So one time he ate raw chicken. And I guess he didn't even know that it was raw chicken. I had just seasoned the chicken and put it in the fridge. And he ate it because he was like, yeah, but, and I'm like, when you were chewing the chicken, you didn't know that it was raw. So these are like little things. I guess that apart from like driving,
you seasoned it so well that you couldn't eat it. You were that good.
But you know, it's like little things that are on you. And sometimes my husband will tell me that, well, I didn't know. And he's really sincere and really genuine. Like I didn't know I wasn't supposed to eat that. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to use that. I didn't know. And I'm just like, huh? You didn't know? So sometimes I have to kind of rebuke myself and put myself in check and tell myself, you didn't grow up the same way. You didn't grow up in the same culture. He's not just supposed to know. Oh my gosh, there was one. Plantain. So one time,
they were my brother with me. Blame as well, my brother.
Let me finish my story. Because I had bought like plantain, you know, and like the right plantain that we fry. And I came home, I had made my sauce already, and I was like hungry. I was going to eat my plantain. My plantains had disappeared. I'm like, who ate the plantain? So I checked, there's no oil, there's no nothing. And I asked our dear man, what happened to the plantain? He was like, oh, you mean the bananas? Bear in mind that even if bananas are this long, they are a certain texture. These plantains were black and yellow. So yeah, they didn't look like bananas at all. These people ate them raw. And what even upset me is that him and his brother were like, yeah, and it didn't even taste that good, so we threw it away. I'm like, for real? My beloved,
that's a true story,
guys. You threw them away.
They weren't that good. Why did you finish this?
Like, you could have just put it back.
I finished it, but my brother was like, it's so disgusting, and he threw it away in the bin. I don't know, it was so funny to see this big banana, going in the bin.
And then, and if you know the cost of like plantains compared to bananas, you would understand the pain that, hey,
I was livid. I was mad. I am still mad to this day. I'm joking, but I am still upset because why didn't you just put it down? Or why didn't you ask me?
I don't know. I was like, maybe it's a type of banana that I'm not aware of yet. And I ate it and I was like, it's so disgusting. I mean, what happened to this banana? I was sad for the banana, So I had to eat it completely, but my brother was not that sad as I was, at that time. So he threw it away, it was funny. But now that I know plantains, I want to really, guys, if there are Africans here or from Caribbean island, Afro descendants, please accept my apologies. I was in ignorance. I love plantains right now. And to this poor plantain that I've thrown it away, I'm so sorry. Please accept my apologies.
I'm sure apology accepted. That's wonderful. And it's so beautiful to see that it's actually in this place of marriage where you get to learn about each other. And I'm pretty sure your children would grow with so much benefits because they're now feeding from two sides of the family that, okay, at this side they do this, maybe this works, maybe this doesn't. This side they do this works, this doesn't. And your child would actually get really aware and better of like different societies and living styles. And the last one in this is that what confirmation did you personally, what confirmation did you receive that fully convinced you that, yes, she's the one I want to marry? Because I know in dating, there could be ups and downs where you're like, is it really the one? So what was that confirmation or the confirmations for you?
I'll go first. I think that for me, it was really because I'm a very spiritual person and I'm like really, 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 really into like God and stuff like that. And honestly, the Holy Spirit told me, because I always say that if I had just looked at what was happening in the present time, we may not even be married because it's not easy, For example, this plantain thing that we're laughing about, it's something that got me really upset. And for someone, this is something that can make someone like leave a relationship, but every single time that it would get hard, it would get tough, maybe like something will happen. The Holy Spirit will always remind me. And also, one of the things was that I had a list, that I prayed for. I was very specific and intentional in that list. And Hugo checked the boxes, For example, I remember like I was praying to go to Canada by the time I met him. And when I met him, he was also like, yeah, I want to go to Canada. And I didn't bring it up. I wasn't the first person that brought it up. He brought it up that he wanted to go to Canada.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, yeah, And also like my family instantly accepted him. There was no convincing needed. When I told my father about him, instantly it was okay, I never had to convince. I never had to, force for people to
defend.
Defend and be like, these are 500 reasons why. No, it was
wow.
In church, people kept telling us that, yeah, why don't you guys get married? Even when we weren't dating, like, you guys should get married. You guys, it's like everyone was just like, get married. His sister was like, you're the perfect person for my brother. It was just confirmation all around. And I remember we went to see one of my spiritual fathers. We went to Ghana. And then he was like, I see it, that you guys are, So it was just confirmation all around. So even when there were issues, because I wouldn't sit here and be like, oh, everything was rosy.
Yeah.
There were issues, but then it's kind of like every time there was an issue, there was a confirmation that came and backed it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, babe?
And what about you, Hugo?
Me, look, I'm as well a big spiritual guy. I love God. I love Jesus. I'm really spiritual. That's really the term that should define me. If one day I should, go away from this planet, I want people to remember me as I was a big believer, So Basically, well, the first time when I met Essy, I had this intuition that she was my wife for real. That was in my guts, I had the feeling. It was so obvious, And then we went to church that was like maybe one day after or 2 days after we went to church. Essy started to sing and to praise God in the way that I've never seen anyone doing that, And I completely fall in love with her for real. That was the second confirmation. Okay.
Wow.
And the third one, and to be honest with you guys, since I met Essy, I knew she was my wife, or almost, I never doubted. One night we were both asleep, and the Holy Spirit came. It was not a dream. He actually spoke to me like, if he was seated, instead of Essy was him, And it was almost, I heard his voice, and he said, she's your wife, and you will have to take care of her and to cherish her as I did with you, And these words really, made an echoes in me, because I'm come from a family that don't believe in God at all. I had to really struggle, to live my faith and be and to meet finally someone that can understand my love and my thirst for God. So when he did that, when he said that, well, it was like the nail on. We usually say in French that's the cherry on the pie, or the nail in the plank, So it was the full confirmation of everything. But as I told you guys, it was not always rosy, and she's very patient with me. So I thank you, babe, for that. And it's true, we had really, especially from my side, external negative pressure, unfortunately, but really, thanks God, once again, we managed well, and finally, everybody has seen the glory of God. So
yes,
thing,
absolutely. Yes, that's beautiful. And Essy, you mentioned that when you spoke to your pastors or maybe spiritual leaders, did you, before getting married as a couple, did you receive any, they're called counseling sessions, premarital classes, and how did they help you?
Yeah, so we had, I think we'll call it a crash course, because from the time of us wanting to get married and the time we got married, and in between that we had to inform the church. It was really short, because we wanted to get married in Ghana, and in Ghana I was in a different church, and here we are in a different church. Excuse me. So we didn't know if we wanted to get counseled here or in Ghana. So we started off here, but then the schedule was just, a bit. So we had to switch to Ghana, So yes, we did do a counseling crash course, because by the time that the church in Ghana was aware and they could provide us with a counselor, I think it was maybe less than 3 months to our wedding.
Wow.
So we had to run through the counseling, really run through it. But I think that there was stuff that we learned that were good, and I encourage people to do premarital counseling. But I think that I'll also encourage them to do it early, because certain things that we learned during the counseling earlier, it would have shaped certain decisions that we made, and it will also have shaped how we navigated certain things. Yeah.
Okay. And just to clarify, how long was the dating until the wedding? Yeah.
We were dating from the
2023.
I think you officially asked me
August 20.
out it was July. No, but you officially asked me on the 19th of August. I have it on my calendar.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the 19th of
baby,
August. So yeah, on the 19th of August in 2024, but we had met. So we've known each other since 2022.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, so I guess we were friends from 2022 till 2023 July-ish. And then we started officially dating in August, 19th of August 2023, I guess. And then I went to Ghana in December of 2023, and we started the wedding planning. So yeah, we officially dated maybe for 5 months, maybe. before we started planning the wedding.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah. It
That's
was
good.
really,
And that friendship stage is very important. Like maybe most of the foundations were made then. So the dating was more of preparation to the marriage, I guess.
yeah. So yeah,
Mhm.
that was basically, I think, yeah, the dating. And then after that,
Mhm.
we went to Ghana together to do the
Mhm.
introduction a year later. So in August of 2024. And then we courted for a whole year. We were courting for a year, and then got married in 2025. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey.
for a long time.
And I'm pretty sure you noticed that the time flew by because it was maybe like just yesterday.
Because I'm like 2022. Wow.
It's a long time. Wow. And with the families, when you were going to introduce him to the families, as you said, it was quite smooth on Essy's end. Were there any challenging bits with the family when it came to traditions, like maybe something they required, or maybe your aunties and uncles were like, eh.
You go first.
Uh, well, look, guys. Feedback. When you love someone, fight for her. Okay, fight. It's a fair fight. Okay. So basically, my family was putting a stick in the wheels. You see wheels pour les roues.
Oui.
Putting sticks in the wheels. I mean, especially my mom. I don't know why she really tried to slow down the process by any means. And there were the traditional. How do you call it? Reasons as well. She was like, "No, in France we do it this way. And you have to do it that way." No. Guys, I was raised and born by this wonderful woman, which is my mom, and I love you, mommy. But we never spoke about any traditions at all, like at all. Yeah, for me, there were no traditions in France. I knew more
Yeah.
traditions in South America or USA, Ghana, but in France, I know almost nothing, you know.
Mhm.
And yeah, so it was tough. And my dad neither. My family, we're not really, traditional guys. We're not. I don't know. So I guess when we were planning the marriage and setting up everything, it was a bit of surprise for us, and especially for me. Suddenly, my mom was like, "No, I want this, I want that." I was like, "But what?"
Yeah. And are these traditions typical for every French couple? Or can you, if they're open, you can explain like what the traditions are generic, like just general.
Wow. Okay. So to be honest with you, one of the tradition was like we had to do a full meal with the whole family in some place, and so if in the French culture, eating and having, big discussions, of a meal, it's quite a big deal. But apart from that, I don't remember there were some big traditions. Maybe she wanted us to be married in a Catholic church, and at that time we were in the Pentecost church. But I was like, "Mommy, you don't even go to church in Paris. The whole family is not going to church. What do you mean? So it was like a bit like they were like, so suddenly you become evangelist, you're marrying to a black woman. It was, I don't know. They were like bit. They
I guess it was like to follow
words.
tradition because normally every typical European wedding, it will be in a Catholic church, walking down the aisle, you look in a cathedral. So I understand where she's coming from. If you look at
Honestly,
the traditions.
honestly, I don't fault her for that. I think that every mother, sons have a unique bond with their mom, and every mother kind of, has that attachment with her son, and seeing her baby, all of a sudden come and be like, I'm not just dating someone, I want to get married to her. I think it came as a shock to everyone, because again, Hugo's not the traditional, kind of person, because everyone has kind of like some, I don't know, a checklist, if you may, of what kind of man you're supposed to be before you get married. You should have maybe a license, you should have your own place, you should have your own this, you should have your own that. When I met Hugo, he was a student, I had just finished school. So I had just finished school because I skipped some grades. So I finished school before him, but it wasn't even a big deal like that. I had done certain things because as an international student, you have to force for yourself because you have no one to rely on. So if you don't get what you need to get, no one is going to get it for you. So I guess that's why it looked as if I was ready, because I was living by myself for 8 years. And not even because I wanted to. If my parents lived in this country, I would have been like him,
Yeah.
I was alone, so I had to boy. I had to figure it out, I had to figure it out. And one thing so I think that's why it kind of became as if she wanted to. I don't think she wanted to stop it. That's not what she wanted to do. But it's just that she was struggling to let go, and I understand, and I remember we had a conversation, his mom and I, because we're really good friends, his mom and I, and we had a conversation, and, she bared it all out there, and she told me that I just don't want to see you suffer because I know that my son is not ready. And I was like, well, you're going to let me have to be the judge of that, and I know what I have seen. I know what I have understood and everything. I let her understand. I told her that, listen, I am not your daughter. I am your daughter-in-law, So, and it's the woman that kind of is her day. So you can't impose what you would want your daughter to have on someone else's child. I have grown up a certain way. I have always wanted to have a wedding a certain way. I come from a culture as well. We can meet you halfway, but I cannot get married in a Catholic church. I'm not Catholic. I cannot wear a white dress if I don't want to. I am not going to do it a certain way. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. And after we're done with what I want to do, we can make a compromise and do something we want to do. I remember I did like the family thing that I went to Hugo's family's auntie's house or something like that. And we had like a meal. And I didn't enjoy myself because no one minded me. I was there. Hugo was, I think you weren't even sat next to me. Were you sat next to me?
No.
Yeah, I think he was sitting next to me, but I don't know. It just felt really out of place. And I just realized that everyone, it was a new concept, It was a new thing. They didn't know how to navigate and go about it. So I don't even hold any grudge. Like, I feel like my husband is a bit upset about it still, but I'm not, because everyone was just trying to navigate the best way they could. You can only make omelets by breaking eggs, so a few eggs were broken, but at the end of the day, we had a lovely omelet that we all shared, and I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, that's really important. And what about on your side, Essy?
Honestly, on my side, everyone was happy. Everyone was just like, finally. Because I guess people didn't think I was going to get married. Much less go and get married this early, because I'm very crazy, I'm very, like, you can't tell me what to do. You think you are. Talk about, da, da, da. Even in my church, when we announced that, like, we were getting married, I think it came as a shock to people, because I don't think anyone thought I was going to get married till I was like maybe 40, because I'm the kind of person like, men are trash. Yeah. Throw that man away. Block him. This. Yes, that was me. And I remember I used to joke about saying that in the morning of my wedding, I'm going to post men are trash.
Yes,
I'll post my wedding photo. And in the evening, I'll say, you have to hate men. You have to hate men. But like, I think my mom was just grateful. She was like, thank you. My prayers have been answered. But yeah, everyone in my family was really happy, and my family traveled. Some people came from the US, some people came from the UK. From France, I think we were about 10 that were coming from France. People came from Germany. People came from, like, not everyone lives in Accra, so my family came from Kumasi, they came from Sunyani, they came from wherever they came from, because everyone was happy, and everyone just kind of see this person that has finally been able to convince Essy to get out of the streets, So
And Hugo is that person.
Yes.
Cheer up.
Oh wow, that is wonderful. As you approach now, you've introduced your family. I mean, you've introduced each other to your family, to each of your families. What were the traditions? Because I know, at least I know I can speak from the African side. We have a lot of requirements that you have to bring, which are not very common in the European space. So, what were maybe I could hear from Hugo's side first. What were the requirements that you got from Essy's family?
There were one concept. I felt it was romantic, but at the same time, for me, it was a bit awkward. It was the awkward means étrange. Okay. Sorry. Huh?
No, I'm really keen on hearing what you're gonna say.
Oh, for me, it was a bit. It was a bit strange. Yes, yeah, you had to bring money and to give a lot of gift, and I was like, whoa. I hope I will have the resources, and stuff, and I will find a good gift, But yeah, it was at the end it was nice. At the end it was really nice. At the beginning I was a bit reluctant, I was like, yeah, because us in Europe it's not at all like this. I mean,
yes.
I think weddings are quite rare in Europe, and we don't. So basically in France, speaking about money or giving money, it's something that you don't do, on a regularly basis. It's it can be. It's a bit touchy, So for me it was weird, but at the end I was very happy. It was wonderful. If you see the videos, guys, they were like holding the stuff like this, the gift, bringing the bride and the family. No, but look, at the beginning it was strange for me, but at the end I was like, no, that's normal. I give something to the family. They
appreciate.
They give their daughters to me, so it's something good. I hope that one day in Europe we'll bring back these traditions.
At least your daughter is gonna have a dowry.
Yeah. Of course, I will.
So it's good for you. I heard, at least in my country, the families where they have a lot of daughters, the fathers are called investors. They're investing so that they'll get return in investments.
But actually, if I could just add this, I think that my dowry was not a traditional one at all. Because my father, my dad is, well, I guess they're traditional, but they're not. I think he also took into consideration or took into account the fact that I was getting married to a Caucasian and I wasn't getting married to a Ghanaian. So he wasn't really keen on the, some people say bring 10 cows, bring 5 goats, bring this. My dad didn't, he just asked, he was like, my dad likes whiskey. So he was like, he wants 2 bottles of whiskey. No, he wants 1 bottle of whiskey for him and 1 bottle of whiskey for his dad, like my grandfather. And then I think that the standard list, we just looked for the standard list for my tribe because I'm Fanti. And then we got like a few stuff, that I would like. So he was like, what do you want? And I was like, I guess a few shoes and maybe a few bags and stuff like that, because we didn't see, because again, we're getting married in Ghana and we're taking the plane. So you can't come and bring me a set of cookware, a set of this, a set of that, because I can't even take it with me. So I think that it was because my dad didn't even state an amount of money for the dowry. You know how people be like, bring 10,000
like 50 million or something. Yeah.
Hugo gave whatever he thought that it was appropriate to give. And I think that, yes, it's actually even more difficult when it's like that, because then you're like, but my dad listen.
Yeah. And what was the balance between, because it's kind of like a line where your parents have to follow the traditions of, let's say, your clan, your tribe, but at the same time, you're believers. So what for you stood out as, maybe I should not do this, where, let's say in my country, there's sometimes you have to visit the elder in the village or do something that doesn't seem very, it looks spiritual on the other side, but it's like you have to do it because that's the tradition to do, which is not very, I wouldn't say witchcraft, but it's just the tradition. So what for you stood out that maybe my parents were not okay with doing this tradition, but as believers, maybe if we just stick to the baseline of dowry and maybe a few celebrations?
Well, I think that my father, again, I guess his family, yes, they have a traditional side, but then I think that he was like, listen, we are not going to do all of that. My dad was very clear from the beginning. So he only involved the family members whom he knew that, they're Christian, they're not going to bring any funny stuff. They're not going to, do any crazy, ask me to go and bath in the sea or something. So we didn't do all of that. We were just really, I think we did go and see some elders. We did do like a few stuff, but it wasn't anything too crazy, because again, we're all believers and stuff like that. And even like the chief, like my uncle who is a king or he's close, I don't know, something like that. He didn't even come and insist. He was very normal. He came to our wedding. He wore a suit. He gave us a Bentley, to sit in. So it's not like he gave us a horse, It was, I love him so much. I gave him watching this. Thank you so much, Uncle. That was really lovely, and we really enjoyed the Bentley.
We did.
We love such uncles. They're very important.
But I guess my family is very woke, I would say.
Okay, yeah.
Them have lived abroad for a long time, schooled abroad, so they've done away with the very, I guess that they've still held on to the core cultural values. I still got married the traditional way. I still did a traditional wedding. I still came outside. We observed all of that. But the part about go and bath in the sea, go and consult the we didn't do none of that.
So we're about to touch on, I think, most your special part or your specialty that you like to talk about. After the introduction and your family know that, okay, how did you plan for the wedding before we get into the wedding, the planning?
You want to go?
Well, Essy has been, I think, one of the biggest and greatest planner. Well done. I'm clapping for real. But I think at the beginning, we if I remember well, we sat on the couch and we had our computer open with the Excel sheet, and we said, okay, what do we want? We started with the guest list. Then
that's true.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
We did like a full inventory of what we wanted at the wedding, and we start, computing an average, budget. And then when we were agreeing on the budget, we say, okay, let's go for that. But to be honest with you, Essy did a really great job, and as well, Chichi, our wedding planner. I think, when you want to organize a wedding, it's important to have a wedding planner. I mean, of course, I will let Essy speak about that later, but I think it's really important. Yeah.
So Essy, you are the wedding planner, the bride, everything.
Well, I wouldn't take all the credit. I think that most 90% of the work was done by Chichi. Chichi from Chichi Events and More. Chinana, I love her so much. I think I say this every opportunity I get. I am so grateful to Auntie Audrey for introducing me to Chichi. Auntie Audrey was a person that did my decor. So she's called Franord. I think her thing is Franord Rentals or something on Instagram. But Auntie Audrey, so when I went to Ghana in December to introduce, to talk about Hugo with my parents and stuff like that, my mom immediately called Auntie Audrey. She was like, Auntie Audrey is going to do your decor. And me, honestly, I knew about Auntie Audrey, but I didn't know that, she was all of that. I was like, I'm eyeing this person on Instagram. You come to talk about Auntie Audrey. And my mom was like, listen, trust me, I've never disappointed you. So this woman came to my house. She drove and came to my house, and we had a meeting, and she was like, don't worry, Chinana is going to plan your wedding. And I'm just like, who is this Chinana person? And while I was in Ghana, I never met her. When I came back, she just called me and we had a phone call, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm in the right place.
And
listen, she was attentive. How we have crazy things. I had this crazy idea. I was like, I want us to do fireworks when we are having our kiss. And she was like, okay, let's do it. And I wanted the fireworks to be in the water. Already, I wanted to get married on the water. I was looking for like a lake to, you know, build a platform on, but everyone was like, we're African. We're African, you know. Like, let's not provoke the gods to to do what they already want to do. So I was okay, then let's just do a pool.
Yeah.
And my father is the one that helped me get the venue. You know, you know, I remember in December we went around. My father had the time. Oh my gosh, I love this man so much. He took me and he was like, you don't like this place? Okay, let's go and check another place out. You don't like this place? Okay, let's go and check out. You know, like it was a hands-on thing. So I didn't feel the pressure. I think I was the bride, to be very honest. There were things that happened on that day that I found out a few weeks ago, because that was how everyone made it a point to make sure that I didn't know about anything going on. Everything was Chichi handled it. Her team handled it. The food, oh my gosh, the drinks, the DJ. From the DJ understood the assignment. The MC understood the assignment. The vendors understood us. The ushers. I was glad that, you know, it's really important when you have money and you spend it well. You know, we didn't spend. The money we spent on the wedding was not an astronomical amount, contrary to what people may think. It wasn't all of that. I mean, it was a lot, but it wasn't.
But it wasn't like break the bank and
it wasn't
after the marriage type of shit. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, we didn't spend like 100,000 euros. We didn't. If I had that money, Charlie, I would have done something proper with it. No, we didn't. But planning and coordination is so important, you know. And as a bride, you need to know what you want. You need to know what you want, because, child, if you don't know what you want, the planner is going to plan what she thinks is good for you, and you're going to be miserable. And it's also important to have someone that's going to listen to you, because there are some planners out there that want to do what they want for you, you know. And I'm so glad that Chichi didn't do that. And I remember, like, sometimes for example, for makeup, she gave me a list of vendors, because I had who I wanted to do my makeup for me. And then she was like, listen, this is your budget for makeup. This person is going to charge you this. But I know someone else who can do the same, if not even better, but it's within your budget. I'm like, okay, let me see the person. So I did like a trial makeup session with them for my pre-wedding photo. She was like, yeah, I'm sticking with you, because that lady is so good. Fab is really good. And fun fact, her daughter is called Isaba as well. So, you know, it was just perfect. I feel like all the vendors, and I remember praying over my vendor list. Every person that was on that vendor list, I prayed and I was like, God, if this person is not supposed to be there on the wedding day, take them out yourself. And I remember, like, Hugo's traditional outfit, the guy scammed us out of 8,000 CDs or something like that. 500 euros that we paid him, and he scammed us out of it. And it pained me. It hurts, you know. 500 euros is not just 500 CDs, you know. It's a lot of money. But at the end of the day, I was, you know what? He wasn't supposed to be there. So yeah, I just trusted my planner. I trusted my husband. I trusted myself, and I trusted my God, and everything went off without a hitch.
Yeah. And you mentioned something, that planning is very important. And for youth couples out there who are thinking, when is the right time to start planning?
It's 2 years. 2 years before your wedding date.
2 years. Wow.
2 years.
For those who have just entered the relationship and they want to do it for 6 months, what advice would you give them, that you should prioritize this, and this, that baseline should be like a good foundation for the rest of your, let's say, 9 months?
Prioritize venue.
Yeah.
Prioritize, because a good venue is everything. What we did, and again, I am so grateful to God, because it could have only been God that orchestrated that. I found the hotel at which I wanted to do my church, because I didn't want to get married in church. I wanted to get married in the pool, as I said. And the reception venue that we found was a 3-minute drive from the church place, you know. It could have only been God. And it was a perfect place, because then some people can actually park at the hotel and walk to the reception venue. And we also got buses that chartered people from the church place to the reception venue. venue is so important. A lot of people get married in one town and are doing a reception in another town. You're just inviting stress for your life. Like, trust me, I didn't want to be stressed. I didn't want to be stuck in traffic. I didn't want to be stuck in traffic. Imagine guests are waiting for you. Where are you? Where's the bride? She's stuck in traffic and she's sweating. You know? Also prioritize the date. The date is so important. For me, I wanted a symbolic date. So I got married around my father's birthday. But then also I thought about the weather because
Oh yeah.
just a lot of people usually now get married in December and stuff like that, especially in Ghana. But in December, we're in Hamatan and the weather is so hot and it's so dry. I knew that I'm going to need to be in makeup for the whole day. So I wanted to be in a time where like the weather was nice, you know. The weather needed to be perfect, you know. So I was like, okay, then around July is raining, so let's do August where the weather is cool and there was no sun. I remember on the day of the wedding, oh my gosh, the weather was so beautiful. Like the weather was so cool that we even kind of fell asleep at a point. Like that was how cool it was. And so prioritize your venue, your dates. So like think about the weather. Also, based on the weather, you know if you want an outdoor or indoor event. Next thing you should prioritize is the food. Very important. Food. That's if you want food at your wedding, because it's okay. It's only okay if you don't want to feed people. You're not entitled to. Please, don't break the bank feeding people because Charlie, if you think that because of the food they're gonna give you more money, they're not. So Charlie, prioritize. Like I say Charlie a lot because Charlie's kind of like my guy in Ghanaian patois. But yeah, your food is really important. So the vendor for the food, also entertainment. So DJ and MC, very important. Honestly, if your makeup is shifting, I don't think anyone is going to care because at a point you're going to sweat anyway.
True.
If your hair is not, you know, if your dress is not so, you know, it could be nice, but it's not.
For the pictures, after that, everybody just...
Exactly. Everyone doesn't even care about it anymore. You're not going to wear it. If your food is not nice, people are going to remember.
Yeah.
If the ambience was bad, people are going to be like, yeah, when we went to their wedding, it was so bad. Plan, badly coordinated. If your venue was too far and people had to go and jump through potholes or go to like some far away place, they're going to remember. They'll be like, this one, when I went to her wedding, some potholes that I had to pass through to get to her venue, you know, that kind of thing. And I didn't want anyone to have an avenue to insult me. So I was like, okay, then, you know. So yeah, those are the kind of things that you should prioritize. Venue, time of the wedding, space, whether indoor or outdoor, food and entertainment.
Wow, that's very, very summarized and very brief and simple to understand and easy to check off.
That was a lot to unpack. Class break. This is just the first episode, so please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell to watch episode 2.